Man like Robbie here. Welcome along to our brand new daily football show. Each and every day, we'll be giving you the best of football news, particularly from the Premier League, right here on Man Like Robbie. Every day, yeah? Remember, this is the place to check. And on a Monday, we'll always be rounding up all of the Premier League action from the weekend. So let's do it right now. Kicking off with yesterday's games. Now, Chelsea. They scored early in the game, early game by Pedro against Burnley. And I think everybody just sort of thought to themselves, well, here we go. That's it. Game over, right? Well, at least I did as an Arsenal supporter. And I'm sure supporters of all the other Premier League teams and even neutrals looking at it, they were like, Chelsea's just going to run away with it. But listen, credit to Burnley and Sean Dyche. They came back. They got a goal back. And Robbie Brady scoring that. And you know what? They're a really resilient team. Look at some of the scalps they've taken, particularly at their ground, where they've beaten Liverpool. They've managed to push teams like Arsenal all the way. And they did the same to Chelsea yesterday. Really physical on them and getting themselves a decent point. And could that be significant in the title race? You know, all right, Chelsea, they're still like 10 points ahead. But could that be, a little slip up by Chelsea? I still don't think so. I still can't see Chelsea sort of losing about 3 games and everybody catching them. But it is a slip up for Chelsea. They've been really invincible recently. So, who knows? The champions from last year, Leicester City. What has happened to Leicester? They haven't even scored a goal in 2017. Is that Jamie Vardy playing out there? Is that Riyad Mahrez? Or somebody kidnapped them and put clones of them out on the pitch? I mean, what has happened to them? They just look terrible. Went away to Swansea, really needed to get 3 points, and they didn't. And now they're just 1 point above the relegation zone. Leicester City, the champions of last season. 1 point above the relegation zone. And I'll tell you what, it's not looking good for them. It doesn't look like a team that's got the right amount of fight in them. You look at some of the teams that are down there at the bottom and they're getting a bit of momentum. Hull City are getting a bit of momentum at the moment, right? I'm really worried for them. Swansea are getting momentum. Could Leicester be, champions one season and relegated the next season? It's almost inconceivable. Ranieri's come out in the papers today in the UK and he said that, listen, it's going to be no more Mr. Nice Guy with me. I'm going to get stuck into the players. I've been too loyal to certain players and they've been letting me down. I think Vardy's got to be in that category because, as I said, Leicester haven't scored a goal in 2017. It's just not good enough. And they're in relegation form at the moment. And I've got to say, if Ranieri hadn't have been a manager that won the league last season, surely he'd be one of the managers for the top. And I mean, you look at a couple of the other teams like Hull City, like Swansea, who've changed their manager and they have had a bounce. Swansea, they went to Liverpool and won. Hull City have beaten Liverpool, they've drawn with Man United. So this is really testing times for Leicester City and a massive test for Ranieri and a massive test for those players because they could ruin what they did last year if they go down. Moving on to Saturday's games. Now, I was at the Arsenal game, Arsenal versus Hull City, and you've got to say, Hull City very hard done by with Arsenal's first goal. It did go in off Alexis' hand. Even, listen, they're calling it the hand of or Alexis's hand of God and things like that. But it wasn't quite a Diego Maradona. Alexis knew nothing about it. It rebounded off of him. And by the letter of the law, and let's just look at it like this now. By the letter of the law, it's a goal. Because it has to be deliberate handball. And it wasn't deliberate handball. Although, I don't know. To me, when it leads to a goal, personally, I think it should be, it should not be given. But by the letter of the law, it's a goal. And Arsenal eventually running out 2-0 winners. Unconvincing. Again, a good battling performance by Hull City. But unconvincing by Arsenal. But a much needed 3 points. Man United go rolling on 2-0 winners over Watford. Goal for Anthony Martial, a guy who's been, under a little bit of pressure with Mourinho. It looks like Mourinho doesn't quite fancy him, but Mourinho threw him in. And well done to Martial, got himself a goal in that game. And Man United at the moment on a really impressive run. They you know, this is much more like the Man United that we expected to see at the start of the season, but a good win by Man United. Middlesbrough 0, Everton 0. Now, fans of Middlesbrough will tell you that that's no surprise, because Middlesbrough are very, very good at shutting games down, locking up shop, getting draws, but they need to start winning games as well, because at the moment they're still down there, they're still in a dogfight. But I suppose you've got to say a very credible draw against a team, Everton, that have been flying recently. So a credible draw there for Middlesbrough. Crystal Palace, on the other hand, another team that's down there, yet another defeat. What's happening with Sam Allardyce? Bought in, Sam's going to come in, Sam's going to save the day. It ain't looking like that at the moment, man. I'll tell you, it's looking a bit rough for Crystal Palace. Yet another defeat. I mean, beaten last week 4-0 at home to Sunderland. When you lose 4-0 at home to Sunderland, you've got to start worrying yourself and saying, you know what, this might not work out. And Sam Allardyce has come in and he's not had the... I mean, I thought when he came in, I was like, yeah, this is the guy who'll come in, he'll get them all organised and they'll be flying. They've probably been even worse, you know. They've got to start winning, and they've got to start winning quickly. And that was a bad defeat. Stoke City, another good win for them. And Mark Hughes doing a really great job there at the Bet365. Sunderland, on the other hand, now this is Sunderland. They're totally bipolar team. Last week, 4-0 winners over Crystal Palace. Everybody's saying, wow, David Moyes, well done. You're on the up again. Who knows, we could get out of this. They go back home and lose 4-0 to Southampton. Sunderland are pretty poor at the moment. I don't know. They're a bipolar team. One week they can draw with, Liverpool, or draw with Man United and teams like the next week they can get absolutely tonked by a team that you'd expect them to do better against. And that's what happened to them. 4-0 winners. Good win for Southampton away from home, but yet another defeat for Sunderland. West Ham 2, West Bromwich Albion 2. Now, West Ham, they'd be sickened by this game. Winning 2-1, looking like they're home and dry. A much-needed 3 points for them, still recovering after, losing Payet, but they've been doing quite, well. But West Brom are such a resilient team. You really got to hand it to them. And they got an injury time equaliser, 2-2 in that game. And West Brom are really, really having a good season this year. And they're the sort of team that nobody really likes to play. They are a good team. Finally, the big game of the weekend was this one. It was Liverpool versus Tottenham Hotspurs. Spurs knew that if they could win this game, they could, start to really make up ground on the leaders, Chelsea. Liverpool, on the other hand, they hadn't won a game yet this year in the Premier League, and they were desperate to get something out of it. And what did we see? We saw the Liverpool that we've been seeing since the start of the season. Not the one that started this year. The Liverpool that closes you down, that denies you space, that is full of energy. And Sadio Mane's back from the African Cup of Nations. Without him, they've really looked very poor. He's back, and all of a sudden it's a different team. 2-0 winners over Tottenham. They absolutely, for me, destroyed Tottenham. Tottenham, it was a poor performance by them. The formation for me didn't seem right. It looked to me like Pochettino got a lot of his tactics wrong in the game. And Liverpool were really, really good. And, all the Liverpool fans will be looking at and they'll be saying, yeah, this is what we want to see. This is the Liverpool that we've been watching pre-2017. And it's a fantastic win for Liverpool. And they're back in the hunt for the top 4. Title race, I just can't see anybody catching Chelsea at the moment. But, hey, listen, Liverpool, a much, much needed win for them. If there is a team that maybe be able to catch Chelsea, the team that might be looking on it and with a real, advantage in their eye at the moment, saying to themselves, we're the team that can get the closest to them, and that is Manchester City. They play tonight. They're up against Bournemouth. The way Bournemouth have been playing recently, you've got to fancy Manchester City. They've been playing really well. The new boy, Gabriel Jesus, has really been on fire. If you look in some of the newspapers today, I've got one here actually. If you're looking at, you'll see Ronaldinho himself bigging up Jesus. right? Saying there that Jesus can be the best player in the world. He's saying that Jesus actually, you know, can take over from Messi, and that's like, you know, that is really high praise. Like, this is how highly they rate him. And any guy that can keep Sergio Aguero out of the team has got to be a top player. And there's still rumours going around in the papers today about a possibility of Aguero leaving. And it just seems like unbelievable that Aguero, they'd sell Aguero. But this is how highly they rate Jesus. And I can't see anything other than, you know, a big win tonight for Manchester City. Time to get into the player of the weekend and also Waste Man of the Week. Now, you'll know from our previous features, Player of the Weekend, it can be actually, it doesn't always have to be a player, it can be a manager, it can be a team, you know, somebody who really had a great weekend, really lit up this weekend. And I'm going to give it to Sadio Mane. I thought he was brilliant against Tottenham. 2 great goals by him. In a really massive pressure game for Liverpool, got them all 3 points. Sadio Mane, how have they missed him so badly? And it's really, really good to see him back. Time now for the Waste Man of the Week. Yeah, we kept this feature, don't worry about that. We'll get it around the right way. The Waste Man of the Week. Team, player, manager. Somebody's been a total waste man. Now, there's quite a few candidates this week. I mean, Sunderland. You know, one week you're winning 4-0 and the next week you're losing 4-0. Bipolar. What is the matter with them? You could say the referee in the game, the Arsenal game, you know, not giving the handball against Alexis Sanchez. But for me, there can only be one Waste Man of the Week. Last year, riding on a high, the champions, Claudio Ranieri, leading that, getting all the plaudits. This year, what the hell has happened to Leicester City? And what's happened to Ranieri? Is it that he's lost the dressing room? Do they not believe in him anymore? I mean, another defeat. No goals scored in 2017. You know what? As a matter of fact, I should really share this award with him and Jamie Vardy because, again, what's happened to Vardy? But I'm going to give it to Ranieri because, as I said, when they won it last year, he got the plaudits. At the moment, if he don't get his act together, they are going down. Claudio Ranieri, Waste Man of the Week. So there you have it. That's a roundup of the games. Don't forget, we'll be back tomorrow with more football each and every day. We'll be taking a look at all the biggest games. Tomorrow we'll take a look at some of the Champions League games that are coming up and also be giving you a full roundup of all of the news that's happening in the world of football. Remember to subscribe here to Man Like Robbie. We're going to be giving away some of these. Football Manager 2, Football Manager 2017, should I say, sorry, right? So if you want to win some of these, all you've got to do is subscribe to Man Like Robbie. If you're not subscribed, subscribe right now. And I'm going to be telling you, giving you more details of how we're going to be giving these away. But you've got to be a subscriber to get one of these. So do that right now. Thanks for watching. Man Like Robbie.
Man Like Robbie, fam. You don't know.